Iran is brushing aside Donald Trump's threats over the Strait of Hormuz, and instead is reviving a far more sinister warning. Iranian commanders warning that the strait will never be the same lands just as Trump's self-imposed deadline on reopening Hormuz approaches. Tehran is now talking openly about regional powers running Hormuz, meaning it wants Gulf states to work with Iran instead of relying on Washington. As Trump ramps up pressure to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz, Iran has responded by hardening its tone, making clear it sees control of the strait as a strategic right it will not surrender. Iran's IRGC Navy has declared that Hormuz has undergone irreversible strategic changes, suggesting the balance of power there has shifted permanently away from the era of American dominance. In a pointed message on social media, the IRGC Navy said the strait will never go back to its old status, especially for American and Israeli vessels, signaling tighter, more hostile rules for their presence. In an official statement, the force flatly declared that the era of foreign dominance over this waterway is over, framing Hormuz as a zone where outsiders will no longer be allowed to call the shots. Commanders stressed that extra-regional powers like the US can no longer dictate terms in the Gulf, insisting the decisions about security and access must be made by the states that actually live on its shores. The IRGC Navy outlined a framework it says can keep the region stable without foreign troops, promoting a model where local navies coordinate to manage threats and de-escalate incidents. According to Iranian media, the plan involves permanent naval deployments, upgraded monitoring systems and rapid response units that can quickly react to any ship or aircraft seen as a threat. Tehran keeps repeating that Gulf security must be handled by regional countries alone, arguing that foreign militaries only bring escalation, not safety, to this narrow and vital corridor. The Navy statement said, and I quote, "The Strait of Hormuz will never return to its previous status, especially for the US and Israel." The IRGC Navy is completing operational preparations for the Iranian authorities' declaration plan for the new Persian Gulf order. These remarks landed right after Trump threatened strikes on Iran's infrastructure if Hormuz stayed effectively closed, showing Tehran is not backing down even under the risk of direct American attacks. At the same time, the UAE has signaled it is ready to support an American military push to regain control of Hormuz, deepening the divide between Iran's regional-only vision and Washington's coalition approach. Iranian media say that 15 ships were allowed to pass through Hormuz in a single day, suggesting Tehran is loosening its grip just enough to show it can modulate the pressure when it chooses. Independent maritime data from Windward counted 20 vessel movements in that period, confirming that traffic is picking up but still tightly controlled compared with pre-war patterns. This level of activity is the highest since the conflict erupted, yet it remains far below normal, underscoring that Hormuz is functioning under crisis conditions rather than true peacetime flow. Tehran insists the waterway is technically open, but it is clearly restricting or threatening passage for America and Israel-linked ships, using selective access as a weapon in its wider confrontation. Lebanon's Hezbollah said on April 5 that it targeted an Israeli warship with a cruise missile off the Lebanese coast. It was reportedly the first such claim by Hezbollah since the current Middle East war began. Hezbollah said the Israeli vessel was 68 nautical miles off the Lebanese coast when it was targeted. Hezbollah said, and I quote, "In defense of Lebanon and its people, and within the framework of responding to the Israeli enemy's persistence in bombing villages and cities, destroying infrastructure, and displacing civilians, the Islamic resistance fighters targeted, at 0:05 on Sunday, the 5th of April, 2026 an Israeli military warship 68 nautical miles off the Lebanese coast that was preparing to carry out its aggressions against Lebanese territory. The targeting operation was carried out with a naval cruise missile after monitoring the target for hours, and it was confirmed to have been directly hit." Unquote. The claimed strike came as Trump renewed pressure on Iran with a fresh 48-hour deadline to make a deal. Trump wrote on Truth Social that Iran had 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Hours later, a senior Iranian military commander rejected Trump's deadline. With only hours left until his self-imposed April 6 deadline, Trump escalated his threats, openly pointing to Iran's power plants and bridges as future targets. On April 5, he warned that if Iran did not reopen Hormuz, it would face major strikes against critical infrastructure like nothing seen before. The profanity-laced language in his latest post suggests not just resolve, but deep frustration that Iran has not yet bowed to weeks of US and Israeli pressure. Trump said, and I quote, "Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one, in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the beep straight, "You crazy beep, or you'll be living in hell, just watch." Unquote. Iran is now warning of a global economic shock, saying Bab el-Mandeb has effectively joined Hormuz in a new arc of threats that can choke world trade. On April 5th, senior advisor Ali Akbar Veliati declared that the resistance front now views Bab el-Mandeb in the same strategic light as the Strait of Hormuz. The veteran advisor to Iran's supreme leader warned that with a single signal, Allied forces could disrupt the flow of global energy and trade. Veliati posted a direct warning to Washington, urging it not to repeat what he called foolish mistakes, and hinting that this time the price would be far higher. Ali Akbar Veliati said, and I quote, "Today, the unified command of the resistance front views Bab el-Mandeb as it does Hormuz. If the White House dares to repeat its foolish mistakes, it will soon realize that the flow of global energy and trade can be disrupted with a single move. America learned history from Iran, but has yet to understand the geography of power." Unquote. His remarks came just a day after Tehran hinted it might expand its de facto blockade beyond Hormuz, pushing the confrontation into the Red Sea gateway as well. Iran's parliament speaker has hinted that Tehran may widen its blockade threat all the way to Bab el-Mandeb, suggesting that any escalation could extend the conflict into yet another strategic waterway. A military source told Tasnim News that if Iran is attacked, it could respond by opening a new front, implying that the battlefield might rapidly shift from land and air to the world's busiest sea lanes. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi forces have already targeted ships near the Bab el-Mandeb corridor, and their past attacks now serve as a warning sign of what a wider, coordinated campaign in these waters could look like.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.